I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember that slogan from the Steven Spielberg movie Jaws, which was, just when you think it's safe to go back in the water, and then, it leads to this big shark eating you. And that's kind of the way I feel about the markets at the moment, particularly the stock market. It's been going up for years, apart from that dip that we had during the COVID period, where it dropped by about 30%, and it's recovered from that. But other than that, you've had a bull run going back to sort of 2008, 2009, and also with property as well. So that kind of bull run is normally followed by some sort of correction. And I've been saying for a long time that I think stocks are overpriced, particularly in America, particularly in the high-tech sector. The Teslas and these sort of overpriced stocks. And now I've seen some other warnings, because I personally think that the market would have already corrected itself, or there would have been some sort of crash had it not been for the trillions of dollars and pounds of stimulus that's gone in to prop up the market and create more liquidity. Because if there's liquidity in the market, then people have money to buy assets like shares and property and so on. But what happens if that liquidity stops or starts to slow down? And that is what could be happening quite soon, when President Biden does what's called tapering, where he starts easing the country off of the massive amounts of benefits and stimuluses that they've been receiving. And the UK is kind of doing the same thing, furlough schemes and that sort of coming to an end. Then what will happen? This will be interesting to see. And that's why I feel that there is, before the end of the year, there will be some sort of correction, if not a crash, in the stock markets. And it only takes one little thing, the straw that breaks the camel's back, if you like, to set things off. And at the moment we have increasing tension between the US and America. In fact, Martin Sorrell said that the biggest threat to businesses is the American-Chinese relationships, the America-China relationships. And we've got China eyeing expansion, possibly going after. I mean, what would happen if they just annexed Taiwan to the mainland? What would America do? They've just pulled out of Afghanistan after a humiliating defeat. Are they really going to get involved with a war with China when they can't beat a few old men from the Taliban, if you want to put it that way? Are they really going to go after China? Have they got the stomach for it? And if they did, this could lead to a third world war, a nuclear war, in fact. And that would not only send stocks crashing, but I think it would send the whole world crashing. So there's a lot of tension out there in the world. Also, we saw that North Korea launched a missile recently. Iran has been building up enough uranium to make their bomb. So there's a lot of tensions in the world, and it only takes something like that to trigger things off, and then confidence goes in the market and stocks will come crashing down, and then I think property will follow. So that's my view. You might say, well, I'm not invested in stocks, but what is your pension invested in? Have you got a pension scheme? Where is that money held? What is your fund manager doing with your money? Because if it's in an equity fund, which could be considered fairly high risk, if it's in sort of international equities or high growth equity fund, then you might want to consider asking your fund manager to balance the fund out, maybe get you out of pure equities and balance it out with bonds or something else. So whether you're in stocks directly or whether you're in stocks because of your stock market ISA or your pension fund, I think now's the time to look at your risk profile and how much risk you are at the moment to a correction or a stock market fall. So I'll leave it at that. That's my prediction that sometime in the next 6 months things are going to get pretty heavy out there, and we could see some major falls in the price of the stock market, and that could then be followed by property. We know that there's problems with commercial property, the commercial property sector. We look at city centres. Yes, things are building up again in the city centres in the UK, but other reports I've seen is that in America city centres are pretty dead at night, and that is also that's affecting everything. That's affecting business. Just one update on the UK. They've abandoned the idea of a vaccine passport to get into nightclubs. So the nighttime economy, people are welcoming that news. But in other countries that's not quite the case. International travel is still suffering. Airlines, EasyJet's in problems after years of unprecedented growth. So there's still a lot of problems out there, and things are not. We all think it's all hunky-dory, we're all bouncing back, but there's a lot of problems out there. So just remember my saying, just when you think it's safe to go back in the water. Have a good evening.